Bacon, Bran, and Branded, Episode 1, with the Maven and the Executioner of Tasks, formerly known as Joseph and Alexandra Poelstra. I'm John Beethan, your host of Branded, and the podcast brought to you by the magicians at ALL MAVEN, a full-service digital agency located in Colorado Springs and Carlsbad, California. We're enamored with all things brand, and we'll be covering other fantastic business topics like SEO, website design, the value of video, social media, and of course, brand identity. And this is our first episode, and in the studio, we have the CEO, Alex Renee-Polestra. I'm saying that really slow, so I want you guys to go look her up. And Joe Poelstra, and Joe's the COO of ALL MAVEN. And here we go. So the title of this podcast is going to be Bacon, Bran, as in bran muffins, and branding. I've been working with Alex for a couple of years on another project, and it's like I noticed every time she shows up, she brings bacon. and I'd like to know a little more about what that's all about.
Well, first of all, bacon is proof that God loves us.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's really important. And who doesn't love bacon?
Yeah, exactly.
Strange people don't eat bacon, and except for vegetarians. I give them a pass. But I bet they'd eat bacon if they could.
Yeah. So the biggest question is, do you like it limp, medium, or crispy?
You know, when I prepare my bacon, I prepare it in a variety of ways, John. I cook it in different varieties. I use different seasonings. Some people prefer extra crispy. Some people want it, a little light and fluffy. So I make sure to accommodate all the different needs.
Yeah.
We all have different bacon needs, John. It's very important to see that.
So, Joe, what have you learned about bacon since you've been with Alex?
Well, I don't know if I've learned anything necessarily, because I used to cook it quite a bit since I worked in a commercial kitchen for a lot of my life. But I would have to say, the way I like it is it generally somewhere in the middle to more well done.
I think he's learned that he has to cook it more now that he's a chef. So that means less bacon cooking for me.
Yeah.
More bacon purchasing and less bacon cooking.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny because in my family, everybody likes it burnt. Although that's, I can have it any kind of way.
Yeah, see, I don't like it burnt. I like it like half cooked. That's my favorite kind.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I should point out to people, I know you're listening, this is not the bacon show.
Yeah.
But I brought bran muffins in because I wanted to add something that might be construed as being somewhat healthy, because some people think bacon isn't.
It isn't. That's not why we eat it.
Yeah.
But I believe in the brand because you need balance in your life. You can't have just bacon all the time. You got to balance it out.
Yeah,
it's true.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about branding, because Alex is widely recognized in Southern California as a maven, whatever that means. You probably should explain that too.
Oh, I am the maven.
So where did that name come from?
So when I first started my business, I had a very awful name, which I will not put out there. But I had a very awful name. And what people don't understand is that a name in itself is worth a lot of money. And so I really needed a name that recognized what we were doing. And for me personally, I had a lot of expertise in a lot of different areas. And it was hard because they tell you to focus on something. But that really just isn't my style, to focus on one thing. So
yeah,
I needed
that.
Yeah. Thank you, ADHD.
It's a gift.
That's my superpower. And so I couldn't just focus on one thing. I had to focus on several things, and I could pretty much do all things in the business sector, mainly because of my college experience. I'm not left brain or right brain. I'm probably 50-50 in both. And so when I went to college, I studied all business administration. I was a major in international communications with a minor in criminal justice and Spanish, where I studied marketing, advertising, public relations, and business. And then I changed my mind and decided I want to be a film director.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I want to make movies, which get the same reaction from your parents when you tell them instead of you want to be a doctor, you say you want to be a singer, and they give you that face. But I left and I went to film school, where I studied writing, directing, producing media, graphic design, web design, photography, visual journalism. So I had all the makings of everything that was marketing a business. So I could do it all. And I was very good at all of those things. So I said, well, I need something that says I do all of it and I'm an expert. All expert. And I was like, Maven. That's a cool word. It means connoisseur or expert. So that's where we got All Maven.
Nice. Good. I mean, I have people ask me all the time.
That's probably the number one question we get asked. They say, well, what's a maven? I said, a maven is a connoisseur, which is a lot cooler and sexier than an expert, right?
Exactly.
Do you want to work with an expert or do you want to work with a connoisseur? When you add connoisseur, it's adding somebody who has a natural instinct and talent for what it is they're doing, not necessarily some, boring certification.
Yeah. To me, it adds flavor.
It does. And it just sounds really cool. I wanted something that sounded awesome. Yeah. As well as, accurately describe what we did. So, and Maven was the word. And now we're all Maven, and people love the name. That's what they say to me all the time.
Yeah, we do. A couple of years ago when I got involved with Alex, it was like, does this mean I have to wear a dress?
Does sound a little bit like a fashion label, and that was intentional.
Yeah. So how do you fit in, Joe?
I got pulled in by Alex in a personal way at first because she is my wife.
You're welcome.
Yes. And, throughout the process of getting to know Alex, I got to know all of the different ideas that she's got rolling around in that beautiful brain of hers. And, I got to see how her company was running and what she was trying to do. And, it just became more and more attractive to me personally. And, but I could see some issues going on. And, since we were having a personal relationship, she was telling me things that were going on and I was trying to give her advice. And it just kind of naturally flowed into being more of a administrative role. And, eventually Alex decided, well, why don't you just run the entire operations of the company? And, I thought about it for a little bit, and I had been feeling like I needed a change in life. So I was like, you know what? Let's just jump in and do this. The rest is history. Not a long history, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
And so you come from a family business, right?
I do. Yeah, family business of big commercial kitchen, prepared meals, and natural food.
Chef Joe.
That's why I married him. Among other things. He's very talented. But, I don't cook, except for bacon. I could do that.
Yeah. The bacon, But you're eating very well these days, right? Yeah. You spend, so you split your time in Colorado and also Southern California, San Diego, Carlsbad area, right?
Yeah. Both cities are, a lot of the times they refer to them as hidden gems, and both cities are very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so both have really strong economies. And, North County in general, Colorado Springs, you've got that military presence over here. You've got that military presence. You've got very strong communities. You've got strong small business communities. Colorado Springs, I didn't know, had the fifth largest economy in the nation, and it continues to grow. And Carlsbad is also one of the top 3 places for technology. And now Colorado Springs is also becoming that. So it's a similar business demographic, technology demographic, community demographic, and it fit really, really well in terms of having an office there and an office here.
And Carlsbad, I think you had mentioned several months ago, was listed in Forbes, I think.
Yes, in terms of, for a number of reasons, not just Forbes, but Inc. magazine, talking about fast growth for technology jobs, a great place for millennials, even though Colorado Springs is ranked now the number 1 place that millennials want to go to and move to, fastest growing cities. So both cities, again, just are on their A game. And nice. This is where you want to be. But I can't just pick one.
You don't have to.
I just couldn't pick the bacon. I just couldn't pick the brand. You got to have some balance.
Yeah. So although it's probably about 60 or 65 degrees here, It's pretty nice weather here, but in Colorado Springs, what's it doing?
Well, there's no blizzards right now.
Yeah. It's this time of year, it's probably anywhere from 25 to 65.
Oh, yeah. It just bounces around.
Yeah.
I did not witness any 65-degree temperatures in the last 4 weeks, just saying. I don't recall that.
It was very cold.
My son told me I was going to get hypothermia.
Oh, really?
It was only 35 degrees, but I believed him.
Yeah. And you did or did not?
I did not get hypothermia at 35 degrees.
That's good.
It's really hard to do, apparently, but I felt like I was dying.
Yeah. So let's chat about branding. I'm sure everybody's going, oh, this is the piece I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
What? They didn't tune in just for bacon, cold weather, and
brand muffins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the essence of branding, and since I've been spending time with you, and actually more recently, since I'm much more involved with ALL MAVEN, is I'm really starting to feel it. Mm-hmm. Feel what branding is and why it's so important. And it's a word that's been thrown around a lot, and I just feel like a whole lot of people don't really know. Professionals that are supposedly experts, not connoisseurs, but experts in branding, talk about branding, but a lot of times I just don't get the feeling they, quite frankly, don't know really what they're talking about.
Well, you said the key word there. You said feeling, and what people don't understand is that brand encompasses feeling and encompasses emotion. A brand is not a logo. It's not a cool design. It is that emotional message that you convey to your audience about what it is you believe and how you believe and how you execute that belief. Your brand extends beyond your products and services because your brand is a belief system. Everything stems from why you do what you do, how you do it, and what about it is that's important. It's that, impact. And, larger companies that really have brand down, people, when they see the logo, there's an emotional connection to it. And so that's what you're doing when you're creating a brand. You are building a bridge between your company and a client based on your belief system and the message that you want to convey. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that is missed often. They think, oh, we have good branding. We've got a good logo and we've got, good messages. And, you can show somebody your logo 1,000 times and they will know that logo belongs to your company. That's just repetition. And a lot of companies do that. But when people talk about brand in an organization is, what does that mean? When I see that logo, what is my experience, right? Like when we drive by, like when you go to Starbucks, you see the Starbucks logo and there's a certain feeling that you get and there's a certain experience that you are familiar with and what Starbucks represents. And so whether you like Starbucks or not, they are very good with their branding because Starbucks has a certain feel and emotional connection that they create with their customers, as well as companies like Apple. I think Apple, they do a good job on their branding. They created like a cult-like following, literally. But, it's very clear what type of message that they're trying to communicate, what their belief system is.
Well, I was, talking about the feeling, that feeling, that Starbucks feeling actually happens even before you get to the store, because you'll be driving down the street looking for a Starbucks and all you do is see the logo on a sign and you've arrived.
Yeah. Actually, if you go to quite a few Starbucks restaurants, you have to look to where they actually have the name printed. They don't print Starbucks on the front of the building. They just put the logo and that's a Starbucks. They've been around.
It's a street sign, essentially.
Exactly. And that's, I think, an essential part of branding is to kind of make your mark.
Yeah.
And so once you've been able to create an emotional connection with your audience about what your message is, if you have a mark or a symbol that can allow people to take part of your brand with them, then I think that's great. So when we're designing logos and things like that, I say, oh, it's always good to have like a logo mark to go with your whole, brand development process. That way people can just see your mark. Once they know what your brand is and know what it represents, when they just see your mark, then they're like, oh, I know exactly what that is. And then you can stamp it. And that's one of the ways that also you can create that cult-like following. Because whenever it's like everybody's showing up wearing, the same sweatshirt, with the same logo, right? you can do that outside of your company. Your logo should belong to your customers and your audience, not just your business. Everybody should be able to take part in that.
Awesome. Can you draw an association between back in the day, and they still do, brand cattle? It's evolved.
Painful. Very painful.
Yeah, painful. But it also denotes ownership,
Exactly.
property. Hey, that's my cow. How do I know? That's my brand.
Exactly. And, it should be given to everyone so that everybody's a part of your brand, in any way, shape, or form.
Uh-huh. So beyond All Maven's brand, do you have a personal brand for yourself?
So I do have a personal brand. It's in development, mainly because I change gears too fast and try to focus on branding. You do have to be consistent.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing is to be consistent, whatever your brand is, to stay on the same page. Because if you don't, you confuse people. So that's probably my biggest struggle in dealing with myself, is trying to focus the brand on myself in terms of one particular area. So it's in progress. It'll probably take me like another 5 years knowing myself. But when I have to do it for other people, that comes super fast.
Yeah.
That's a lot easier.
Honestly, I think your brand could be alexandrite because you change colors. It's a multifaceted thing.
Yeah, that is true. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in my name. So my given name when I was born. See, a last name you inherit. You don't get to pick people don't pick their last names, but when you're born, you get a first name gets to be picked for you, right? I mean, you as a baby don't get to pick it, but the freedom of selection is there. So when I was born, I was named Alexandra Renee. And so Alexandra means defender of men or protector of mankind. And Renee means reborn. So everybody knows Alexander the Great. That's where the root of the name is. And with Renee meaning reborn, Alexander the Great was actually, he actually died on my birthday.
Oh,
so
right.
he died June 10th and I was born June 10th. And June is, the birthstone for June is alexandrite. And alexandrite is a stone. It's considered one of the rarest stones in the world. And it changes colors. One from a very like ruby red to like emerald green, which are on opposite ends of the color spectrum, which if you go into some of that other lunar calendar stuff, that's also the symbol for the Gemini, the two personalities, the opposites, and so forth. So
yeah, this is great because just want to let you all know out there in the show notes, we'll make sure we put down Alex's birthday and a place where you can send the gifts.
Yes. Thank you. So I always find that interesting. The birthstone for June is alexandrite. My name is Alexandra. I was born in June. I was born June 10th. My middle name means reborn, and I was born the day that Alexander the Great died.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One day I'd like to be known as Alexandra the Greatest.
Yeah.
He was Alexander the Great. I want to be Alexandra the Greatest.
I told you a couple of years ago, Alex for president. God knows we need it now. Huh?
Oh, thank God I'm not old enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Joe, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Alex?
Oh, let's see. Well, we're working a lot about where our company's going in the future and what we're trying to do. Like, what are the next things you foresee us doing in the near future?
I think for me, the near future is really kind of clarifying our brand message. So part of your brand is your messaging and the team that's with you. And I feel like with our team, which is awesome and amazing, and they're just so great, I feel like that's helped hone our brand a lot more in terms of our personalities and so forth. Now, people come and go from companies all the time, so your brand shouldn't change based on the people that are there. But I do feel like our team has really helped solidify our brand and our message and what that means. And I feel like there's people on board and it feels more cohesive. So I would say to your question, like, what are the next steps? I would think is to digitize that a lot more and put that into more video so people can see, people who aren't working with us, what it means to be part of the Maven crew.
Right.
Because that's a fun thing.
Oh, yeah, it's really fun. Anything else you guys want to say to wrap up?
I do have a thing. If you're considering doing branding, I definitely recommend do your research. If you're not going to hire a professional branding company, do your research. Understand that it's more than just design. Anybody can make consistent professional design. There are lots of free tools out there that can help you do that. But really think about, what is my underlying belief system of my company? And I'll tell you that your brand message is not tied to your product. It's not tied to your product. It's not tied to your service. It is the driving force behind what it is you do. Because essentially, if you have the same brand, it doesn't matter what the product is. You can change the product, along with it. So companies like Apple, Microsoft, they had a brand message. Their products have all changed. If your brand was tied to your product, your brand would change every time. So I would just say, really identify, what is your core message? What's your belief system? What is your why, for all you Simon Sinek fans out there?
I was going to mention Simon, sure.
Yeah, everybody's got to mention Simon. He's cool. It's all right. What is your why? What do you, believe? What is it that you really want people to feel and understand in your company?
Okay. And so I think we've talked a little bit about actually rolling out some educational material.
Mm-hmm.
So that's up and coming, I'm sure. And so I'm just going to encourage people to go to allmaven.com and opt into everything we and Alex and Joe and all of the staff is doing, because we give a lot and we enjoy that process. I've always, that's at the core of my being. That's for darn sure.
Yeah. It's super fun.
Yeah. So for those out there, we'll have show notes and links here and there. And so just stop by wherever you found this podcast. Just share it with as many people as you think might find value in it.
And Absolutely. If you meet with me, I'll get you some bacon.
You might have to fly into, Colorado.
I'll get you some vegetarian bacon if you're a vegetarian. Sort of thing. Turkey bacon, maybe.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, thanks for being with us. And I didn't mention, my name is John Beethan with All Maven. And until next time.